Okay. The main pointers which would be discussed today would be around the research on the water management, and particularly we have been talking about the garbage. One issue is definitely data is garbage. Data is garbage for the longest time. That being said, my voice itself is like a little bit on the side, it is sidelines. So the pointers which we are going to discuss is how we can utilize the best of the stuff, and the best of the stuff can be utilized to get things done in a fast, speedy manner. It is only in the articles everywhere that different states in India they have a lot of garbage in terms of how the garbage is dumped, and we we at one instance are trying to build these smart cities. However, what is important here is to note that smart cities cannot be built without common sense. The folks who are living in any of the cities, it's basically we are talking about the land periphery of India, aka Bharat. I'll give you one example. Now, this is supposed to be Starbucks, and this is a used cup. I mean, I've been reusing it. I got it at Starbucks. I was walking by and passing by, doing going from one meeting to the other. Somehow, I kept it, some tissues and everything once it was empty. But by the time I reached home, did my stuff and everything, I just put it in the refrigerator. So because of that, it is still sticky. And then I had multiple coffees in this particular stuff because this one is much better. I mean, um, the compostable paper cup, as per the ISO standard, is different. It is ISO 17088 2021. That means in 2021, this ISO standard came into existence. Now, what is ISO 17088? We'll discuss it afterwards. But the point I'm trying to make here is how you can use the same thing again and again to save the mother earth, or whatever we wish to call it, in terms of the disadvantage which is there uh, to a lot of people. Now, reusing the same thing again and again till the time you can use it is a good thing. However, what is important here is it is also written that it is HFSP CPCB license number MH is Maharashtra slash 280. Scan code for details. There's a scanner. Honestly speaking, I haven't scanned it yet. Probably I'll do the scanning. Maybe I'll scan it right away and see if it works, because that is also important to see. So I'm trying to scan this. So this is on iOS. I'm not able to scan this, but let me just try it with another interface. Let's see. Let me scan this now. Okay, I'm able to see it now. So basically, it goes to a web link which is huhtamaki.com. So I'm accepting all the cookies for now. So this is basically Fiber Food Service India certificates and documentation. The good thing about is this is the one. I'll just zoom in, and when you zoom this, you are able to see multiple languages. I think this is one thing I appreciate. When we go down in India, in any of the places, it's not only Hindi, English, the local dialect, and a couple of other languages are there. However, I feel it's a little bit difficult for normal people to have everything on the hoardings. But if we can have a QR code or the response code, and the response code itself can be a good way to accustom people with the reality. Now in this particular stuff, Messrs, this is a food service packaging India Private Limited. Their address of registration is SN period 54B, HISA number period 3A, Jangit commercial point. Maybe my pronunciation is a little bit wrong. Um, Damangaon village, Bhi- Bhiwandi, Thane district, Maharashtra, India. Pin code is 421302. Now these guys, they have given certification number CPCB slash HUH TAMAKI. I have to look into the pronunciation. And as I said, MH stands for Maharashtra slash 280. So basically, the compostability certification, what do they provide? Uh, Product letter CPCB, CIPET, test report, MPCB certification. So let's click on that. So when I click on the first one, um, it was generated, or the letter was um, generated by Central Pollution Control Board. So CPCB is Central Pollution Control Board. Uh, it comes under Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India. 27th day of July 2024. It was generated, and the certification number was provided to Maharashtra. Certificate to manufacturer for manufacturing, selling this plastic and carry bag. So the good thing about this is under Parivesh Bhavan, East Arjun Nagar, New Delhi. It has a website www dot. So generally, government websites are of many types. There's something called as nic.in. This is www dot cpbc.nic.in. So probably CPBC is Central Pollution Control Board. So they have written how the end product should be manufactured. There's an Annexure 1, which is good. That's how we do the legal stuff also. So it is ISO standard 17088, titled as specification for CP. Here is compostable plastic in English and regional language, which is a good thing because English is a common language globally. Each carry bag and commodities shall also be printed code and certificate number of manufacturer. The manufacturer shall generate QR code based on the details provided in the certificate issued by CPCB, and QR code shall be provided on each carry bag, which is a good thing. The certificate issued shall not require renewal. However, a fresh application shall be filed with CPCB for grant of certificate in case there's any change in raw material production process or product. The manufacturer shall provide 6 monthly report giving details of raw material procurement and product sale to SPCB slash PCC slash CPCB as per the prescribed format. The good thing is I'm going to try and figure out the full form of these abbreviations. The manufacturer shall comply with the provisions of PWM rules, guidelines issued from time to time by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change or Central Pollution Control Board. If the certified manufacturer is found non-compiling, non so this is a good thing. I feel for any of the companies to thrive. So one can be done like we are doing it quarterly, that is 4 times in a year, or quarterly becomes a little bit difficult, but we should give them that um, that iota of confidence that we are there with you. See, as I said earlier also, there are different types of blockchain. And fortunately, 6 years back, I was in China at this point of time doing the blockchain with the blockchainers. So that kind of blockchain can never exist in India. But at the same point of time, there is another blockchain. And the good thing is, they're also good. I mean, whether different blockchains can coexist, that's not the question I wish to answer right now. But what I can answer is, when there is a due diligence, monthly due diligence is very tough, because then all the resources go into the factor of just preparing this documentation. Even quarterly is not possible. Even I feel 6 months is not possible on a bigger scale. But what has to be done is, I would rather say 6 month review plus the benefit of doubt of 90 days, and you just have to file a form. Please don't take fiat currency for anything and everything. It again becomes a pain, because if somebody just passes off the deadline date, then it becomes difficult for the business industry to thrive. And why I'm speaking about this is, I've been using it for more than a week now, and it's still functional. So it's not that I just went today and got it. It's already recorded when I got it. And generally, what I do is, I get the date written on it. But perhaps I was working on something that day, multiple things at one point of time, so that date is not there. In a similar manner, let's talk about the trademarking, because one of my clients, or I have a couple of ongoing stuff with the clientele I'm handling, or the clients who want me to handle their applications in India. So if I talk about the Indian counterpart, um, the cases, obviously, if somebody is a, I won't say one person company, but responsible for a lot of stuff, because when you're running a business, there's zillion things. IPR is the last thing for anyone in India. I mean, what I have learned in last all these years is, if somebody is, emphasizing on the IP part more and not on the business, that company, that person, that entity is never going to thrive. And it's just a bluff in the market, that oh, I have this trademark, oh, I have this, oh, I have that. Business is all about execution. You have to be fast, fast, fast. And fast doesn't mean that just do whatever you wish to do. No, not that way. What is important here is to allocate the resources in a manner. When we talk about the trademarking stuff, whenever the I mean, the report is issued, which is the examination report. I'm talking about the trademark examination report. And by the time the founder, who has reached a position where the founder doesn't have the time and the bandwidth to even look into the stuff, in that case, what happens here is, you miss the deadline, in terms of, the person missed the deadline to file a reply. Though there's form 4, blah blah blah, pay money. But why to pay money? I mean, IP has to thrive. That is what Elon Musk is saying. That is what Trump is saying. And directly, indirectly, the articles which are floating right now is talking about the same stuff. IP should not be an hindrance. IP should provide that thriving environment to the companies globally. So I would be writing a letter to the controller, and probably, even if I don't get the reply, I'll just put it online in the best of the networks, and let them see how they want to, articulate and look into the factual stuff of the due diligence. So you can see the due diligence is one part of the pie, and the second part of the pie is definitely the way the timeline is there. Because honestly, it is next to impossible, because communicating to the founder, startup, quotation goes, and then they realize, oh, it's so high, why the quotation is high, and there's so much of tussle between the trademark attorney and the others, and things cannot happen. So I don't know how this think would be overrated. But the point I'm trying to make here is money doesn't buy data, money doesn't buy anything. Um, One thing I learned from my so because in the coding world, we have so many fathers. Fathers is like, oh, like I started from convent. A part of me started for the convent. So father is, Father Milroy, father this, father that. So that is one father. I'm talking about my biological father here. So in that aspect, anytime or every time, obviously, he's into different profession, but whenever we have this, one-to-one discussion, he always tells me that never ever ever think about money. For I know in the blockchain is basically fiat currency. Just do what needs to be done, and that will come. So the point I'm trying to make here is money is always the byproduct. You don't even have to think that, what will this get me at what point of time. What is important is, are we solving the sustainable issues of the United Nations? Because there are so many issues right now, and honestly, Homo sapiens sapiens has spoiled it. And in that way, China is quite progressive. I was uh, invited as one of the speakers for a meetup. I mean, a few months back, and I somebody pointed out China and was like, "Please don't even talk about China right now." I mean, India has done blunders, and we can see that it's there in the news in terms of the kind of calamity which is happening in India. I know same is happening in China also, but at least on land, if I talk about after lockdown, I've spent a lot of time on land in China, not China, in India, and I've seen it for myself that so much of damage has happened in terms of pile of landfills and everything. And those landfills, we studied. I'm not joking. We studied in our masters in biotech, and so one of my clients, Mahalakshmi. So, according to her, she has something called as bio-remediation microbe, and according to her, that microbe can, resolve all the issue of the world in terms of the bio-remediation. And for the longest time, I have been telling her, why don't you, discuss this with government of India? And those are in the initial years. Right now, she has filed a case in USPTO stating that her microbe has been taken, something happened, blah blah blah, and NCH incorporated something. Honestly, somebody has to look into the case. I have some facts with me which I think might be helpful for Mahalakshmi, because she was going through a situationship that point of time, and I was like, even my life was in a situationship, because having the co-founder dispute, personal disputes, this dispute, that dispute, and honestly speaking, we we and my co-founder at that point of time, we actually coined a lot of good brand names, got it registered in the name of the company. And because of the misunderstanding between the co-founders, obviously there were a lot of third party interventions, not only from the industry, from the patent agents, from everywhere, from the business community, because we were not serving any of the Indian clients. At least I was not serving any of the Indian clients. I was not meeting anyone. I'm the last person to meet anyone, because I like to work in silos, and that is how I thrive in terms of whether or not I want to work with any of the enterprises. But over the years, I learned that after writing so much, because when you're writing, for the quantum stuff, and you're writing for anything which includes communication network, it's basically, although ITU states that human Homo sapiens sapiens, if I just talk about that, bad actors, good actors, neutral actors. But when you're writing patents, we have different embodiments, and generally, at least when I was writing those applications, and those applications were written somewhere from 2006 till 2015. I mean, not this much of applications, so many applications, and those applications become family child of other applications, and then I see the damage happening, because those patents were granted, and honestly, I was not prosecuting those patents, somebody else was prosecuting those patents. And End of the day, even if the patent is granted, patent has different sections. One section is definitely the patent claims, but patent claims is nothing. In terms of what is important is what you have written in the DD is basically the detailed description, and the detailed description is not only of the non-specification. You have to go and look into the provisional stuff. If not, provisional stuff is not done, then this is done, blah blah blah. It's a total mess. I mean, it's not a mess of a good kind, it's a mess of so much. So when I realized this tech of legal stuff, I today, like, I don't blame my co-founder that much as much I blame my own self, because when you take the full responsibility of what happened wrong, then you realize that you should have been careful uh, with whom you partner up, because even partnering up the kind of people you wish to work. Like, I hired the misfits from my own college, and they were the biggest misfits. I mean, every third person I meet seems to be misfit, because they are misfit. All the Indian patent agents are misfits, and that's the reason I want to be out of it, because you don't want to be part of the misfit community of the Indian patent agents. Um, because life was very different in 2007, and all other Indian patent agents, they are just newbies in the industry who are prosecuting my own patents in some way or the other. So I'm the biggest misfit right now in the Indian patent industry, and that is the reason I want my money back with uh, whatever blah blah blah, because government is looking into it, and obviously the same has been communicated to USPTO, and our application, which is into biohacking, a lot of money has been given for the biohack, and biohacking is real. Uh, we don't need a patent to explain that to anyone. And Oleg Tetrin is the producer of the movie Chef, and we all know the copyright stuff which happened with Oleg in India. However, when Oleg told me to file a case before any of the courts, I was not of the opinion, because um, I know this thing doesn't work the way it has to, in terms of um, the resources you put in to just get things done. So the misfit part has to be taken care of, in terms of, if we are a misfit, we should be we should fit ourselves into another lock and key, which is part of the biochemistry. You should read about um, anyone and everyone who really wants to understand the coding language, a little bit of coding. Even if you don't have a bio background, you should read the book Campbell. That is one of the so the thing is, now even this music itself, this is the copyright of someone who actually made this music, right? So some kind of royalty has to go into the into the kitty of these people. I'd like to finish the video now. I think I have given a lot of data set for people to ponder and work on it, because the point is, data is garbage, we know. That's one point. The second point is, the garbage which comes from any of the households, whether you're in a society, whether you're on rent, blah blah blah, garbage is garbage. How the garbage is being disposed is very very important, and it has to be disposed on the spot. We cannot be putting it into the bags and saying, okay, this is the person who's going to clean the garbage. Nobody is going to clean your garbage. That is the kind of framework the government of India needs to get into practice. Even aerocity itself is not a control point in many aspects, but in many aspects it has some good pointers. um, the second very important point is, garbage is garbage. Garbage cannot be mended the way people want to. So that's the submission for today. Thank you for watching our video. Have a great day ahead.